This morning's guest had a vision of a presidential debate in Myrtle Beach. Find out what he did to help make it happen and what he's doing today to help the political process roll smoothly. You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Coastal Regional Outreach Center of the South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind. We're focused on running for office, and we're visiting with the chairman of the Horry County Republican Party, Robert Rabon. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
To wrap out the week, we've been here all week. What about the South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind? Have you been in this Coastal Regional Outreach Center?
I had not before. I went several years ago to Alabama. It's really a quick story. I registered at NASCAR Cafe, and I won the 50th anniversary pace car of NASCAR.
Oh,
and the money, they sold 196,000 tickets, and the money went to the Alabama School for the Deaf and Blind. Wow. So I went there, and I stayed at the Alabama School for the Deaf and Blind, and I went up on Friday. Me and my son came back on Monday and went to the race at Talladega, and they took me down on pit row, and Ned Jarrett gave us the car in front of 210,000 people.
Come on,
quite a visit.
That is amazing.
Awesome.
And of course, to have been there at the school, I'm sure you got a lot
of
the significance.
The people were fabulous. It was wonderful. And I'm sure they are here. I just hadn't had an opportunity to come before.
Oh, yeah. It is a magnificent facility. Of course, a lot happening now.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 weeks ago this upcoming Sunday, 2 weeks ago on the 30th. Everything wrapped up for filing for office on both parties.
It did. State law has a primary set up for March 16th and March 30th, and so they ended on Sunday. It was odd to end up on Sunday this year. Start on Sunday, end on Sunday, but we ended up with 40 candidates, and the Democrat Party had 8.
Wow, yes. So. And that's for all the positions that are elected in the county, that are just up for election this
There was 23 offices open this year.
Right.
And that doesn't include Jackie Hayes, which is in House District 55. You have to vote, you have to register to file, and you're a resident county. Jackie lives in Dillon County, but the upper part of the state around Green Sea is part of the Horry County Legislative Delegation, and Ray Cleary, who lives in Georgetown County, covers the South Strand. Right. And so, but they both had to file, one in Georgetown County, one in Dillon County. So if you added those two, we had a total, both parties had a total of 50 candidates file.
Wow.
It's awesome.
That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
sure is.
Yes. I mean, and is it good for the parties? You want people to file. You want folks to get out there. You want them to be contested seats, or do you normally want incumbents to maintain their position?
All incumbents will tell you they want to run unopposed because campaign is tough. It's hard work, and especially when you're in a primary, because it's compacted into a space of like 75 days that they have to get out and work. They have to get their message out, and the way the restrictions are now, you can't put signs out in the rural areas until 45 days for the election, which would be like April 26th. Right. And you can't put signs in municipalities until 30 days before the elections, to get your name recognition out. And so voter ID is a big thing. When an election, people vote for whom they know. Right. And so building your name ID is really important.
Absolutely. Wow, Robert. Any surprises on that leading up to March 30th, leading up to that Sunday, anything that came out of the woodwork? Or?
Well, no, not really. Most of the candidates I had heard from, I had on the last day, I had Howard Bond, he called me Saturday night, and he filed for Senate District 33, and David Cox walked in like 7-8 minutes before 12 and decided he'd run for school board in District 9, and those were kind of surprised. But we had 4 file on the 30th, the last day.
Right,
but
right.
So,
that is
other than that, it was good.
Yeah.
We had a huge contingent of candidates and got a great group of candidates, probably, and I've looked at them from top to bottom. They're as strong a group as we've ever had since I've been involved in the party.
Mm-hmm. The June primary will be held June 10th?
June the 10th, that's correct.
So less than 2 months from today.
That's correct.
Less than 2 months from today. A lot that has to happen. You said 45 days before June 10th, folks can begin getting signs out.
They can put their signs out in the county, and municipalities allow them 30 days before the election. So May 10th for the municipalities, right, and April 26th, I believe, for the county. Okay, so a lot's going to be happening. A lot of signs will be popping up. Any overly heated candidacies or races that folks are expecting? Just in my estimation, we're going to have several really heated. I think Senate District 33 with Luke Rankin, who's the incumbent, 16-year incumbent, and Liz Gillen, Chairman of County Council. And, of course, Howard's in the mix now. but that's going to be a pretty spirited race.
Right.
I think in the House race, 58 with Thad Byers and Stephen Nees and Helen Smith will be a very heated race.
Right.
And then remember Billy Witherspoon, he's our presently in House Seat 105. He chose to retire.
Yes.
And there's 4 candidates for that. And one of them is Kevin Horry, who was also a county councilman for District 10 for 2 terms.
Right.
And so his seat will be vacant. And you have 4 candidates filed for that. So
wow.
Those are going to be pretty heated races. I think all of them will be. So.
You know, is Kevin the only Republican that's filed for Billy Witherspoon?
Oh, no. As a matter of fact, George Hearn, Randy Alford, and Matt Bennett.
And they're all
Republicans. There's no Democrats filed that don't. The races that Democrats contested, County Council District 6,
right.
And they have 2 candidates filed for School Board District 9, and then 1 Senate race, and 1 House race,
right.
And that's it.
And then, obviously, for Congress, you've got a couple of Democrats out there. And you've got quite a few Republicans.
We do. I don't really, we don't handle that here. That's a state function,
okay.
the Congress and the Senate. And so I have enough to do with Horry County folks. So that's just
do those folks notify you, though, to let you know that, on the county side, ultimately, you want to get the word out for folks in...
Well, we have a really good website on the Horry County Republican Party, and so probably by tomorrow we'll have all our candidates up, their name, address, telephone numbers, and have email addresses.
Oh, yeah.
So persons who want to contact them, be easy access for them.
Right, and that's HorryCountyRepublicanParty.com.
That's
great.
Correct.
Okay, good. It is a...
There's a lot of information on there if anybody wants to read. Not just for Republicans, but
good.
Like who pays taxes, and if you want to get in contact with state offices, government entities, your state senators, your housemen, we're Democrat, Republican is there.
That's great. Mm-hmm. That's great. So much has happened in the last 90 days, Robert. We think about the excitement. I got to say, we need to take it back to January 10th. And it wasn't just January 10th. I think you've been working on that thing for, was it a year and a half?
Actually,
give viewers a sense of what that's like. Of course, as you know, the bulk of our viewers are in the PD and southeastern North Carolina, but surely everyone nationwide was impacted by the significance of not only January 10th, but January 21st. But let's focus on January 10th, leading up to that.
Well, in August of 2006, I sort of had a brainstorm, I guess, and I thought, why don't we try to see if we can get a debate just before the Republican primary in South Carolina? And so when I called Scott Malrick, Executive Vice President with the State Republican Party, and I asked him, he said, Robert, odd thing about it is several major networks called us today and said they were kind of thinking about it. And he said, you must have ESP. I said, I don't know about that, but anyway, I want us to have one, if we can have one, and I want it for Myrtle Beach. And then as I got through, I got told over and over and over, you can't have it in Myrtle Beach. You're 109th media market in the state. Greenville's 36th, and they poster child for the Republican Party, 70% voting Republican for years and years and years. Right. They're blue collar, and said, y'all live on the beach, and the people who don't think it's a ritzy place think it's Coney Island, with hot dogs and popcorn and Ferris wheels. And I said, and so what we had to do is reinvent the thing. And as we got started, and I talked back and forth to them, some of the delegation, particularly Liston, helped me, and Alan Clemens and some of the other members of the delegation. I don't want to miss anybody, but they were really instrumental talking with the State Republican Party too.
Great.
But then I went to Brad Dean and talked to Brad, and Brad started bringing the chamber in. And the chamber and Brad Dean and City of Myrtle Beach were just awesome.
Really?
They were wonderful.
Great to work with.
And then we had an idea about the national anthem. If you noticed, there's never been a national anthem sung on a debate before. They always just cut through. They might have it at a debate, but they typically don't have it on the news. And so Calvin Gilmore is just fabulous. He's just wonderful. He's been such an ambassador here. And so I had the idea of asking Calvin Gilmore, and so we managed to work it out with the news network to get him to come. And when they came, and as it all started falling together, we found out in August we were going to get it. Right. But what they did, they give us a list, a punch list, for lack of a better way to put it. Steph, this has got to happen. Like they didn't even think to do it. And then it got down to the night before the announcement. They called and said, we need to be able to move 4,000 motel rooms in 24 hours. Well, it would have it. Greenville only had 3,600. And I said, we have 88,000 rooms. We can do that without any problem. And Brad confirmed that we could do it in 24 hours. And then we had the last question they were asked, when was the last time planes that got snowed in on January 10th in Myrtle Beach? Never. We could find it. And it had several times in Greenville. So that was the last time. So just a little small stuff. Seems insignificant, but it was a big deal because you had to get there. It was a timing thing.
Oh, yeah.
And what's so great about it, the week of the Republican debate, they left New Hampshire. It was 9 degrees and snowing, and got here it was 75 degrees and sunshine. And the Fox crew that came in, When they come in, it was like 50 of them, and only 1 out of the 50 had ever been to Myrtle Beach.
No.
They looked and said, they'd heard about it, and they just said, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Yeah. And they, at the end time, said it was the best debate they'd ever been associated with.
Oh, come on, Robert.
Oh, just awful. And I even told Brad and John Rose, I said, if you don't stop cleaning the convention center, you're going to wash all the paint off of it. Because it was just sparkling. It was absolutely wonderful. And it went off without a hitch. I mean, they were just amazed. And the day after the debate, January 10th, January 11th, Myrtle Beach had 30,000 inquiries that one day for vacation packages to come to Myrtle Beach.
Wow.
30,000
wow.
in one day. And their request, I saw an article the other day that their news release was up like, in that month of January, like 425% or something. It was just phenomenal. And so it had a huge impact. And what it did, though, when I went to and I don't want to ramble too much, you stop me.
No, absolutely. We've got time.
When we went to meet with the Chamber of Commerce to try to make our pitch, to ask them to help participate, and they were just absolutely wonderful. At that time, we didn't know whether we would get a Democrat or Republican.
Right.
And I told them, I said, look, and Sally Howard was there, and I said, if the Democrats get the debate and we don't get a Republican debate, I commit to you, I'll work as hard as I can to help them put on the greatest show that people have ever seen in America.
Right.
Because I want Myrtle Beach to be the litmus test. I want everybody in America, when they think of having a debate, they got to compare to Myrtle Beach.
Right.
And I said, I'll work as hard as I can, but I promise you, Sally, the day after the debates, I'll work to beat your brains out in November with my candidates, in a JS thing.
Oh, yeah.
But so, and we did, I think, and I didn't go to the Democrat debate. I didn't think it was my place. I shouldn't have done that. So, and I don't know how many of the Democrats, obviously they were welcome, but I don't think we could have put on a better show than what we did. The state Republican Party was just blown away. Fox was blown away about what was done, and it was a combined community effort. Everybody worked really hard on it. But if I had to single out one person in one group, Amy, who works with the chamber, and
Amy
Brad,
Lee.
Amy Lee, yeah,
right.
she was just fabulous. Her and the whole group. I hate to call a name because you might miss somebody.
No, sure.
But Brad and John Rose at the city of Myrtle Beach, all of the board members on the chamber was just wonderful.
A lot of volunteers,
both
party
over 1,000
volunteers. A lot of Democrats were out helping out the Republican event, much the same way, and I'm sure Sally and all the folks felt if the Democrats and the Congressional Black Caucus Institute can't make it happen here in Myrtle Beach, we'll wrap around and help the Republicans if they can get it.
Because to me, it was not about a Republican or Democrat.
Right.
Obviously, I'm chairman of the Republican Party, and that means the most to me.
Right.
But it was about our area. I mean, it was about jobs and letting people realize what a fabulous, wonderful place we have here. And to me, you cannot measure the advertising we got, because the day after the Republican Party debate, this is a newspaper here. This is called Top Fold for those who don't know.
Right, right.
The day after the Republican debate, there was 441 newspapers nationwide that had Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
I love it.
441 in 29 foreign countries. They give out 705 press passes for the Republican debate.
Right.
29 countries were represented in addition to the United States, and every state in the Union was represented here.
Wow.
So it was the amount of exposure we got. You cannot, you can't measure it. I just don't know how to. You can do a guesstimate what you think it might be, or whatever it is. And I think some of the hits you get on the websites and different things kind of tells you, give you an idea of where you heard from. But a friend of mine at the beach was on a cruise, and he was in Puerto Rico. No. And he got talking, and they were talking about, and happened to be when I was being interviewed, and he told me, Robert said, I know that guy, he's my friend.
Yeah.
And so, but it was just wonderful, and we had never had one in Low Country, South Carolina. Closest one, I think, was Charleston.
Is that right?
And,
oh, yeah, that's right. They had the one down at the Citadel.
And so,